The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
My name is Jasmine, and I am a recovering drug addict.
My name is Richie Farrell, aka the Old White Junkie.
And we are your hosts for Exit Team Nashua.
Our mission is to bring recovery into the living room.
Last year, over 72,000 Americans died of an accidental overdose.
That's almost 200 Americans every single day.
We will bring you guests with real-life experiences with addiction and recovery. Welcome to Exit Team Nashua. Hi, welcome to Exit Team Nashua. I'm Jasmine, and I am a recovering drug addict. I'm excited for tonight's show. We have a really, really awesome show for you guys. We have my dear friend, one of my best friends in the whole world here tonight. So that's really
so cute.
True. It's true. It is, and it's an honor. And we have our co-host Bobby, who I love and adore, and he just absolutely cracks me up. He does. He really does. So we have a really good show in store tonight. How are you?
Good.
Are you nervous?
Yes.
It's okay.
Yes.
Don't be
It's
nervous.
okay.
You're doing great.
After time, it'll just go away.
Yeah,
it's good.
You're
It's
doing
fine.
great.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
I'm good. I'm good.
Go for it.
Yeah. So usually the format we kind of go is, we don't, everybody's experiences are different, right? But it's a good way to kind of get to know somebody and like understand the emotions and the feelings that kind of went behind, the reasons why we are the way we are.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
Wanna?
So what's my story? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, like just a little bit about you. So this show is for people that are struggling, for family members of loved ones that are struggling, And the show really isn't even about the drugs. It's about the internal pain and the internal suffering. And to let people that know that there's relief to that, and that you can be free and to educate and to inspire and to offer tools. The show is really, really just to help the community.
Right.
So people can connect with you. We ask that you just bear a little bit of who you are. So maybe just like, your childhood, a little bit about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Father's maiden name, social security number.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my social is.
What is your credit score?
It's actually good, which is a surprise because it was very low. So gifts of recovery. I guess what my childhood looked like is like kind of like what Gilly had said on the previous show, is like my childhood wasn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said too before, is that you thought it was bad, and I thought my childhood was genuinely bad until I got into the program and heard everybody else's story, and I was like, wow, I had it so easy. Like I really had it so easy. Like I had, my parents were loving and supporting, they're still loving and supporting. And like granted, I had like emotional turmoil in my family, like as a child, but like in no way, shape, or form was it why I turned into like a alcoholic, like addict, you know what I mean? It had honestly nothing to do with it. So like my childhood was good, I was loved and I was cared for. But like the feelings as a child is that I know that like I just never felt good enough. And I constantly compared myself to like what other people had or what their families looked like or what they were doing, and I never had good enough clothes in high school, and I could never fit in with people in high school, and if I only had the nicer car instead of my Ford Focus wagon, then like people would accept me more. So I was always seeking like something outside, like I needed to go shopping, I needed to get new shoes, I needed to get something, and I was like, if something changed, I would be okay,
I think that brings up a great point. So I work with a lot of families. And the family is always like, I don't know what to do. But you're saying everything was provided. So moms and dads and loved ones that are watching this, if you're trying to figure out what it is that you can do and how you can give and how you can fix it, it's not like going out and buying those things or providing those things because
it was never material stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? I used materials to make me feel good.
Yeah.
Because like it gave me that instant gratification for about 5 seconds. And I kept thinking that would work, and it wasn't, the whole family's giving thing. Like at that point in my addiction, family giving me stuff was not helping. You know what I mean? Support to get help, yes. But if you're giving me money, if you're giving me that, it's never gonna go well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what happened? I mean, like, so you're telling me that you were just an internally comfortable child. You're not really too sure why you were uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I can totally identify with that. You know, my earliest memories of a child, I just never felt okay, never. But so what happened? So how did you go from seeking material things and you know, validation for that comfort to drugs?
So I just know that when I picked up a drink and I started smoking weed like everybody does it at the age of like 14, freshman year in high school. And like, I don't think at the time that I realized that I was going to be an alcoholic. I just knew that it felt good. And at some point, like when I looked in the mirror when I was drunk versus when I was drinking, I looked in the mirror and I was like, hey, I'm pretty. Like, or like, oh, I can go out and leave the bathroom and actually maintain like a conversation with people, you know?
So the drugs were the solution.
Yeah, the drugs.
I love it. People are like, F heroin. I hate heroin. Shoot your local heroin dealer. I'm like, you guys are ignorant.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
a
y'all,
fact.
but you are so ignorant
Yeah.
because the heroin is not my problem.
Right.
No, this
Yeah.
substance was what I'd used to be okay.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like, oh, the big bad heroin dealer made me buy it.
Yeah.
It was like, no, I was blowing him up for 3 hours. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like he was like.
Bobby was notoriously seen in parking lots.
Oh my God! Side Street, Ortega Ave in Hollywood, in Bridgeport. That's where I was at. But
Yeah.
No, it wasn't that. It was just okay. I found this one thing. Actually, I found this plethora of substances that if I do, suddenly I could sit with myself.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know, I understand where people are coming from when they put the focus on the substance because there is a lot of misunderstanding and they want to help. But what you're doing is you're really distracting and defocusing from what the real problem is.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's done intentionally. I think that people are really misinformed. You
I
know?
agree.
I think what it is like you want to be like it's natural to get angry, right?
Right.
And like you don't want to be mad at the person, so you get mad at the substance.
Yeah.
But instead of getting mad, it should be what can I do to help?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But people don't get that far.
Well, we live in a really sick society.
Yeah, and it's also tough when we're losing, you know, a couple people a week.
I know. Literally the other day when I woke up in the morning, 5 people I knew had passed away that night, and I was like, "How is this even real?
Yeah.
5 people in one night? Like,
Yeah.
it was, you know, it was an emotional day, and that's the reality that we're living in. So I guess people can get angry, you know, because they don't know how to deal with all of that. But the truth is if you're angry, you know, you might want to try and take a little bit of a different spin on it.
Yeah.
Because it's really about building up community and loving and nurturing. And you know, it didn't matter how many drugs I did. I still felt empty on the inside until I was willing to let people love me and take a look at that. It didn't start getting better.
Yep.
No.
And many people in my life thought the heroin dealer sucked and it wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
You know?
No, the
So-
heroin dealer normally doesn't call you.
And,
At least mine didn't.
And
Yeah.
in my experience, the heroin dealer was suffering just as much as I
Right.
was, trying to feel okay internally, you know, with themselves, whether it was that they were doing the drugs, doing it to support themselves,
Yep.
or they were using the money to seek that internal comfort and the validation that they got from everyone needing them. Like, they were just as broken as I was.
Right.
And truth be told, they deserve just as much love as I get today.
Yep.
I know
That's the
some of
truth.
them that were just trying to feed their family.
Right,
Right.
absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
don't even get me started on how criminalizing drugs is
Yeah.
not
Oh
working.
God.
All right, let's go back to Sammy.
I can go on for
got
days.
I
Jazz
know
fired up.
we could go down a very long road right
Let's
now.
talk politics.
Oh no, please don't.
All right.
Yeah.
So you want to keep going?
What about?
You.
Can you prompt me? Give me a question.
Well, what happened? So when did you pick up? So alcohol, weed.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're I know you're a pretty vicious heroin addict. So how did it go from just
Proud of you.
No, so it wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
But I did think it was really cool to be a heroin addict for a really long time.
Oh. You want to go into a little bit of detail on that one?
Because I was like, I'm hanging out with the older people, and like
Okay.
you're smoking weed, and I'm shooting heroin. So like, what's up? Like, who can party harder? I can. And I
Do a
made
heroin
that.
like an adult.
I made that my identity.
Yeah.
You know, like I
Uh-huh.
was like, I'm a drug addict, and like, there's my ACE card. You know what I mean?
pretty badass?
Yeah. And then I thought I was just so cool, and like, the reality was, like, it's not cool.
Because you're a young lady. How old are you?
23.
23. You're just
I'm just a baby.
Yeah, just a little kitten.
Yeah.
And you're so well put together.
Thank you.
And I have the honor and privilege of knowing you on a very personal level. And your soul is very kind and genuine and bright. You know, and I'm really grateful that we didn't know one another in our active drug addictions.
Oh gosh. I don't think we'd be friends.
For sure. It would have been gnarly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so when I hear stuff that you've told me about your life back then, I can't even believe it.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about what it was like, and then we'll get into the solution, because that's really what the show is about.
Yeah,
you know, But I want
absolutely.
people to be able to identify
Yep.
with you and know that you're the real deal.
Right. So my drinking basically just got really bad. And it progressed like all throughout high school, and I got like some DUIs, some drinking citations. I caught a lot of harm. I was a blackout drinker. And then I'd gotten a DUI, and I was like so depressed because I couldn't drive. And someone one day was like, "Have you ever done heroin?" And I was like, "No, but I have like some." My brother's also one of us, you know, and he struggles. And someone asked me if I want to do heroin, and I was like, "Yes." Despite like all the warnings of like doing heroin, I did it anyway.
Strong prejudice.
Oh yeah, that thing, exactly. And it just didn't matter, you know, because like I'm so broken internally, and so it just progressed from there, you know. And it got bad, and I went from snorting it to smoking it to IV usage, and like I didn't lose anything in the first treatment center I went to. I was like 18. I didn't lose a car. I didn't lose family members. I didn't lose friends, and all those things like that. In my mind, like I separated myself from all the other people who had like overdosed and they were shooting up. Like I was like,
Oh, you're one of them.
I was like, I'm not a heroin addict. You're a heroin
like
addict.
a lady. Shooting up like a lady.
I was a real
Yeah.
woman, you know, who could shoot heroin, and it was fine. But all that stuff started to happen, you know.
You were eligible too.
Oh
All the
yeah.
yets.
Yeah, it's all the yets, and it starts slowly, but like they say, it's progression. Like I lost a car. I saw someone die like firsthand, like I was there. I've had a lot of friends die. I spent all my money. I mean, all the material things I lost, but I also like completely lost myself. And I was absolutely broken, like contemplating suicide like quite frequently, you know. I was broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it looked like. It was ugly. Yeah. But I'm not unhappy anymore. I'm great.
You're also not ugly. You're beautiful.
Thank you.
So let's talk about how you got to this point now.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Yeah.
like, so you went from that low, which I think we all have experienced.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and those things that you said are terrible, but they're not uncommon, which
Yeah,
is
no,
sad
not
for
at all.
us. Because like, same thing happened to me. I'm sure the same thing happened to you.
Yeah.
You know, so like, what did you do to be where you are now?
I was given like an ultimatum. Like you can either be homeless, or you can be homeless with my dog at that, or you can go to treatment. And like God pretty much intervened in my life, because in my mind I was like, I'll be homeless with my dog, but like for some reason that didn't sit well. And yes, it was for the love of my dog, but like there was just something in me that was like, as much as I didn't want to go, I was like, I need to do this. And like my own power, like I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And so like God absolutely was like, okay, time to go to treatment. And I went.
So how do you stay sober? Because there are a lot of people watching that don't know how to stay sober, and there are people that are struggling that have tried to get sober over and over and over, and they feel hopelessly defeated.
Right.
So
right.
how do you stay sober? Because like people are literally dying to
Right.
figure that out. What do you do?
I shut up. Like I shut up and I stopped trying to like run my own show, you
Yeah.
know? When someone says like do X, Y, and Z because it'll help you like get closer to God, or it'll help you, you know, like not defeat this thing, but like put it at bay. I just did it. I was at the point where I was so broken that I was so willing to do whatever people who had gotten sober before me told me to do. I took suggestion, and like now I'm in like the maintenance phase, because I'm
Can you explain what you mean by maintenance phase?
yeah, sure.
Okay.
So
Because there's different kind of maintenance phase with different
right,
things.
yeah,
that
yeah,
people can
yeah.
be in.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
So I have like a higher power in my life,
Yep.
right? And that for me is just like pure spirituality. Like I don't practice like religion because I'm not really educated on religion. Like and that's fine, you know, so someone can totally be religious and have that be their thing. Mine is just like spirituality, and I don't know what it is, but it's fine.
Yep.
I constantly take a look at myself and what I'm doing, and I'm like quick to not judge other people, and like I help others, like I sponsor women, I take them through the work, like the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, I do exactly like what's in that book, and I try to just be a better person. Like I don't do things that make it so I can't sit with myself, that I'd feel bad about. Yeah.
I think like what you touched upon, like people are dying to figure out what it is, right? Like I have people, what did you do? And it's just like, it's really not, there's not magic secret,
No.
right? It's
They
not.
say it's simple, not easy.
Yeah, it's not like somebody pulled me aside when I was like a week sober and it's like, all right, kid. So I know we talk about all this stuff, but like this is the real thing. You know, nobody ever did that. They were like, hey, if you want what I have, do what I do. And it wasn't like them just talking to me about it. Like they brought me into their lives.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, they showed me how they live. It wasn't like
yes.
I could talk a great game for an hour and a half and then I go home and I yell at my wife and I kick my dog.
Right.
I like the women that guided me when I was so vulnerable in the beginning, and the women that loved me, they brought me into their lives. They brought me into their homes. They showed me, they loved me, they nurtured me. I was so flawed, I was so broken, I didn't know whether to go left or right, and I cried most of the time. And they were like, it's okay. They told me it's okay. I was like, what do you mean? It's okay. It's okay. They're like, it's okay. And they just kept loving me and loving me. And that's so important. And I love that you said, like, they just didn't talk about it.
No.
You know?
Oh, and it was the whole bringing it into your homes, right? Like I remember I was telling people like, hey, I used to break into houses and steal. And they're like, cool, do you want to come over and watch the Pats game?
Yeah.
And I was like,
That
I just told you.
connection,
And they're
that
like, yeah, I don't-
love, that
you know?
nurturing, and that's what we need. And we're getting all this money, and we're like heightening up law enforcement, and we're criminalizing drugs. And I'm like, hello, people, it's not working.
Right.
Like, how about some decency?
Yeah.
How about we go out and like we feed the homeless, and we love them because they're people too, and they deserve it. And you know, whether they choose to be homeless or whether circumstances have brought them there, they're no less than any of us.
Thank you.
You know, and like the unfortunate, and like I'm really, really, really blessed to have my life put together today, but not for a second have I forgot where I came from.
Right.
Not for a second.
That's me after 2 bad decisions.
Absolutely.
That's literally like maybe not even 2. That's like 1 bad decision and that's me.
Yeah.
And I
know?
see people and they're just hurting so bad, and especially substance people that suffer from substance use disorder. You know, they just hate themselves, and I'm just like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Let me love you.
I know. I think that's what people don't realize is like they just see like the outward behavior.
Right.
And like that's where the ignorance comes from, but like I know that all of us have had the opportunity to like work one-on-one with other alcoholics, and like the best gift that I've been given is like all I do for people is like try to make them laugh and try to make them feel like
Yeah.
worthy, and like I hug them and I'm like it's okay. Like it's okay. And like real quick, someone told me at work the other day, they were like, I'm putting you on my 4th step and saying I resent you because you're so happy, joyous, and free. And like back in the day, I was so miserable, nobody wanted to be around me, and I was like, that's a gift. But yeah,
I lived with Sammy when she first got sick.
I was awful, dude. I was a mess.
Oh my God, hold on, I have to share. She's
Okay.
gonna hate me.
All right, go ahead.
Me and our other roommate, if she's watching, hi Kirsten. We took shifts babysitting Sammy behind her back. She didn't know because we were so worried about her, and we literally split like the days up in shifts to make sure she was okay.
So bad. It's so
Sam,
embarrassing.
Are you
No,
okay
it's
with
not.
that?
It's okay though, because like you
Yeah.
said, like I needed people to love me, and I didn't know that like you guys cared about me as much as you did.
Right.
You know what I mean? And now I'm like, thank God for
And you do
guys.
that for other women. I watch you do that for other women all the time.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's like my life depends upon it, you know?
No, and I just like that to this,
Yeah.
right? Like they used to say my catchphrase was square up. I
Yeah.
tried to fight everybody because I was terrified. Now
Yeah.
I make fun of myself all the time.
Yeah.
Constantly. If
It's
you guys
cool.
haven't figured it out.
We have a statement. Do you want to read it, Sammy?
Sure. So it says, spirituality is your own personal relationship with a higher power of your understanding. Religion is man telling you who God is.
Yeah. I mean, I would think in my personal life, I would absolutely agree with that. But I also don't have any, like, religious people, whatever they do, like, that works for them and it's cool, like, no judgment, anything for me. I'm just over here like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just trying to be a good person.
Honestly, I don't care what anybody believes in.
Yeah.
Right.
It does.
Yeah.
If religion's your thing, awesome. Like it's
Yeah.
it's a thing for a lot of my family, and they love it. And like they are amazing people, and like awesome, good for them. Like
Yeah.
for me, it doesn't really work like that. I have my own understanding. That's great. Do I care what anybody else thinks? Not at all.
No.
Yeah.
Whatever
I have
helps
to,
you.
you know what I have to do? I have to be really careful not to get trapped in belief systems.
Yeah.
I limit myself and my thinking all the time, and I forget that I live in a limitless universe, and like literally everything is available to my disposal.
Yep.
Everything in abundance.
And you got to figure out where that belief system comes from,
Yeah.
because you inherit belief systems generations on generations on generations.
Well, absolutely. I have a negative core belief that I'm unworthy. You know,
yeah.
it has improved tremendously over the last 2 years, but there are things that can still trigger it to come up in me.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, life isn't perfect all the time when you get in recovery.
I
Oh
know.
no.
It's definitely not.
Can you keep going on that, because that's something I feel like not a lot of people are.
Yes.
Like I've been told, because they assume like my life's gonna be fantastic from here on
Yeah.
out. Like, go on. Olga.
Yeah, that's not the truth, you know. I think what recovery is that you're given this, like, they call it like a spiritual toolkit, right? So like when things happen in your life, you have instead of like sticking a needle in your arm or drinking or doing whatever you do, like you just have a better way to like cope. And like you also don't have to like look to yourself to figure it out, you know. You look to God to figure it out. And then you have other women that can help you, and other men that can help you and guide
Stay
you.
away from the women.
Yeah,
Yeah,
men
okay.
with men, women with women.
Yes.
But yeah, there's like a lot of shitty, crappy moments in life. There's bad moments.
Yeah.
You know,
No, and
there's
that-
bad moments.
And I think one of the biggest things I learned is like just because you're sober, it doesn't mean life just doesn't like stops
Yeah.
happening. Like
Life doesn't
life's
stop.
life. Like normal people have bad days too.
Yeah.
Normal people have struggles.
I've
that they
had
go
bad
through.
months in sobriety.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I literally, like, what was it, like 3 months ago, I had the worst, like, one thing after
remember
another.
that.
I like unexpectedly lost my job. I had to find a place to live. The place I was supposed to move to ended up like not working out. Then I got hit. My car got totaled. The insurance company messed up, and they were supposed to total my car, and they told me that it got approved to be fixed. So we brought it to this garage, and then there was like it went on forever, like hashing it. And I
Yeah.
was like, what the heck? And I made it through it. And not once did I think about getting high
Yeah.
to deal with it.
Yeah.
I made it through it, you know,
Yeah.
and it was really rough. You know, I've been through a lot of things. I've been through deaths. I've been through breakups. I've been through, like, I've remained sober through all of that.
Yeah.
You know, I've gotten in fights with friends. I've lost friends. I've gained friends. You know, it's up and down, and it's a journey, and it's just accepting where you're at and being where you're at and honoring where you're at. Wherever you're at, it's okay.
Yep.
Honor it.
Yep. Yeah. And they say like recovery is not for people who want it or need it. It's for people that like work for it.
Right.
Do it.
And it's work like every single day, but it's not like work that feels strenuous, you know.
No, I feel like it gets to a point where it's just how you are. It's how you live.
Yeah.
You know, like these are the things that I do every day, and it's just normal to me, and like it does what it needs to do and keeps me sober.
In the beginning, it was rough. And in the beginning,
Yep.
it was work.
Yep.
Because I hadn't formed those habits. And it wasn't in my brain, and my brain hadn't repaired enough. And plus, I had a really, really negative core belief that I wasn't good enough. I wasn't going to make it. I had all those self-defeating thoughts along with really bad habits.
Yeah.
So it took a lot of work, and what it really took was a really strong community to help me and to guide me, you know. And today it's not. Today I wake up and like the first thing I do is get into meditation. I don't think about it. I don't doubt it. I don't debate it. I just automatically go to meditation, and I get myself grounded for the day. My thought process before used to be, well, I don't know, do I have that time to meditate? I don't know. Now I'm just like, I know that if I meditate, like everything else is going to be better throughout the day. You know, we have another statement. You want to take it away?
We are all spiritual beings. That's what connects us all.
Love that word, connect.
Yeah.
Because I believe the connection, love, whatever you want to call it, you know, that's really where the solution lies. You
Yeah.
know? Not separating, you know. I just feel like a lot of these things that you see people whose motives and intentions are good to try and help actually creates division and shame and stigma, you know, when really it doesn't matter. Wherever you're at, and like, I love you.
Oh.
So,
Yep.
I think the biggest thing for me was just knowing I wasn't alone.
yeah.
You know, like knowing like I could talk to someone like the deepest, darkest whatever that I did, and they'd be like, yeah, no, I did too. You're all right. You know what I mean? Like it's you'll be fine. Like just knowing that was like, oh, what?
Yeah, people tell you something, you're like, I've actually done worse in sobriety.
Yeah.
You're okay.
But you're gonna be just fine. You know, because I will build stuff up in my head, and it'll be the worst thing in the world, and I will be getting
Right.
a life sentence once they find this out, and they might even enact like this whole new penalty where they ship me to the moon because of how bad it was. And
That'd
they'll
be
like,
nice. That wouldn't be that bad.
really?
I'd like to go to the moon. No. All right. Anyway.
You can.
But
you can.
yeah, but the
Whatever.
fact of people being like, yes, I was there, now I'm here, and I get you, I understand you, and just knowing somebody understood me, like that connection, like that made the biggest difference. Because then it was like, I'm not alone, I can do this. Somebody else did this, and they're willing to show me.
Yeah.
So, Sammy, to someone struggling, what would you say?
I mean, I would say the same thing that Gailey said, is that just like ask someone for help, because you'll hit a point where you're so broken that you're ready, and like the window of opportunity to get help is really small. But when you feel it, like run with it, you know. And you just got to realize that like you probably have family that loves you and friends that love you and want to see you get better, and even if you don't, you have like the people in the program like waiting for you to come in, because like our lives depend upon like a new person, you know.
Amen.
Yeah. So like get your butt to a meeting.
Because we're selfish.
We need to help. We need to help you, and like
Let us love you.
yeah, and like from 3 like broken addicts to like what we are now, like telling someone else that like it's possible.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
I just love doing this show
Yeah.
and looking at the people on it. I'm just like, this is so crazy to think like 2 years ago I was homeless living in the streets, and like where my life has gone, and to know how I feel internally and all the change, and to sit up here and share this with you guys it really is so beautiful.
Yeah, it is cool. Yeah.
It's just
Sometimes it's like mind blowing.
I know, it really
you're
is.
like,
no,
are you
seriously.
sure?
You
Yeah.
ever do that thing where you're just like looking and you think about where you were exactly whatever year ago was,
Yeah.
and you're just like, how?
Well,
Yeah.
me and Sammy are coming up on two years.
2 years.
What?
2 months.
Yeah.
What?
I
I
know.
know, we're essentially twins.
Are
I
you guys
know.
gonna share a cake?
Well, she's 2 months ahead of me,
Okay.
so probably not. But we can have 2 cakes. I'm always good with 2
Yeah.
cakes.
So this was a great show. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I love you.
Thank you, Sammy.
Thank you.
You're the
For,
best.
for anyone watching, anyone struggling, if a loved one's struggling, just reach out. Reach out for help. Reach out to any of us. We love you, and we'll see you next week.
My name is Jasmine, and I am a recovering drug addict.
My name is Richie Farrell, AKA the Old White Junkie.
And we are your hosts for Exit Team Nashua.
Our mission is to bring recovery into the living room.
Last year, over 72,000 Americans died of an accidental overdose.
That's almost 200 Americans every single day.
We will bring you guests with real-life experiences with addiction and recovery. Welcome to Exit Team Nashua.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.